I spoke to artist, cosplayer, and D&D player Holly Conrad about what she loves about this game and what makes it unique.
The thing I love about D&D is again the storytelling aspect, and that was like the gateway from my entire career was D&D, because I started playing Baldur's Gate, and I started being in games that a friend of mine was DMing when I was like in late middle school, high school. The same time I was wrapping up this like book that my friend and I wrote, and like that outlet of being able to like just tell a story just like an improv was just so much fun for me, and I always loved that. And I love the games too. I love the PC games, and it was like interacting with a novel, and I thought that was like the coolest thing, because I'd read like the choose your own adventure books, and I was just like, I want more of this. And then as soon as I discovered that you could play games do that, I was like, yes. I love sharing my artwork or the stories that I do. I mean, like in D&D, like if I can share my character and people can relate to my character, that's sharing a story that people can relate to. And then if they can get entertainment and joy out of that, then that's awesome. Like that's why I love seeing people do fan art and cosplay of Strix. Like if they can relate to that character and think that that character is something, someone that they like as a character, that's like the highest praise that I could ever get. Literally, when I play Dice Cam Reaction, we could be alone. I don't even, I'm glad people are enjoying it, but I am just playing D&D with my friends. So that's kind of like how I do everything. When I hang out on streams, I just think of it as hanging out with people that are cool and my friends, and I want to explain cool stuff to them. Like, I'm making a thing, here, I'm going to explain it to you. Or like for Dice Cam Reaction, like, there's so many people like in the chat that I've like creators that I've ended up following and talking to, and it's just been amazing. And that's a testament to the D&D community and how supportive it is, because it is a very different community, because we're all on stage doing something very silly, and at the end of the day it is super silly, but we emotionally connect to it, and we all realize it together that we're telling us an important story. And I feel like that's, everyone's more open to that kind of thing, which is really healthy and awesome and a good way to explore anxiety. We're getting on the point where it's like we have a whole new generation coming into playing these kinds of things, and they grew up playing PC games. They grew up playing, console games, and getting together with your friends and again, improving and playing these games is something that we don't get to do a lot. Like personal interaction is something we don't get to do a lot. And while they might enjoy all of the Twitch streams, the people that are going to go home and try it out for themselves are the ones who are going to continue to pretty much just be like, hey, this is cool, let's do it. And when they do it, they're gonna realize how awesome it is, and that it's honestly more fun being part of the game. So that's how I feel. And doing YouTube is super fun, but I'm not gonna do YouTube forever. Mostly because of sanity reasons. So I'm like, what have I always loved? And I've always loved storytelling, and I feel like my art is storytelling. Whenever I make a costume, it's storytelling. Like why does this character have these things? Why do they have scars? Why do they have, weapons? Why do they have this? And like the creatures I always paint, there's always some kind of other, a different world. And I guess one of these days I just need to consolidate all that. I love storytelling. I think that's the thing I loved about like Brian Froud and like Jim Henson's art and like all of that whole world, is that the art told a story. Like it was like art from another world. And that's what I try to do with my art. Is I'm not the best artist. I'm not great at anatomy. I'm not like, but I love thinking of it as like some sort of like arcane medieval thing that you found somewhere and you're like, what is this thing? Like, I don't know. So it is like another world. And I think it all comes from that place of storytelling, that I love storytelling. And even in my art, I try to, create something that's otherworldly. And that's my biggest influence is Dieter Lizzie, who did all the Planescape art. Like, he was my biggest influence in learning to draw and learning about like, world building. And his art tells every picture tells an amazing story. And it's just, every time I get bummed out with my art, I just like go look at his art, and then I'm just like, it's not about like being super, super good at art. It's about telling a story. So that's why, and I got to meet him at Gen Con, and it was the best thing in the world. I was so excited. I was like, oh my God. I got one of his original Planescape pieces of the mortuary, and I hang it in my house, and I look at it every day.